friends all the way around the world and back again. Welcome back. I've got an update to show you on the journal that I made. In the last video I was just starting to construct it, and construction carried on, and I thought I was filming it, but the camera had died on me, so you're not going to get to see the part where I put it all in play, but I'm going to show you and update that because I think it'll inspire some of you. I'm hoping it will. And I've also got a list of things here that I just kind of want to run through to say, if you're thinking about journaling for 2021, then things that will keep you journaling will help you stay on track with it. Because again, it's like anything. We start these new things, or maybe we start and then it kind of slips away, doesn't it? However, I've got some things here that will hopefully help you to stay on track. So, a handmade journal. You could buy a journal, but a handmade journal is so much easier. And I'm sure that you have this, maybe this is the first time you've ever come across journaling. I hope not, because you've missed out on so much. But a handmade journal, so upcycle an old diary. So a journal, we can question, what is it? Well, it's a place to go, it's a space to put your thoughts. And then there's a question mark for me, because people today are encouraged to map their thoughts, log their thoughts, put their emotions down on paper, and that's good in one sense. However, and the however comes from the years I've been journaling, I've learned a lot. And I'm going to get back to this bit in a minute, but I've got to get this out of my head while it's flowing, otherwise I'm going to miss it and forget to go back to it. So when I started journaling way over 20 years ago, I used to write everything, every nitpicking, nagging wrong in my life, because I needed to get it out. I needed to get it vented. So I used to write about it. I even used to have a friend. We parted company in the latter years. For 11 years we wrote. Every week we would write to each other. Pen to paper. Pen to paper. That's an old-fashioned term, isn't it? Pen to paper. What's that about these days? But we would write. She was down south and I'm up in the Midlands. And we would write some of the most horrendous stuff that had happened to us maybe in that week to each other. I mean, they were almost abusive letters. They were venting to her and saying, because she knew my friends and I knew her friends, and we would really have a blast about venting about those people that didn't please us. Or anyway, these were, I mean, in this day and age, they were, if you were to look at them today, you'd be like, wow, that's not good. But it was a way of, we were both very lively in our 20s, and that's why I'm talking, this is over nearly 30 years ago. So, over 30 years ago. Anyway, the time's irrelevant, but I have still got somewhere in a storage space somewhere all of those letters, and there are hundreds. And we used to decorate the envelopes and all sorts of stuff back then. We were unique at what we did. There wasn't as much crafting around. The postman, when I used to catch my postman, he'd say, these are very lively envelopes, very lively. So we used to, you know, we liked to be unique, and we had that thing about us then, and I still like to be unique. No, I still am, not like to be, I am. So getting back to the journaling, that was, you know, pen pals were very lively back then. You would write to people, but what I'm going to say to you is writing and venting all of this negative stuff, it's good, and here comes the contraindication, it's also very bad. And it's very bad in the fact that what you put out there energetically into the universe will come back to you. So I learned, it took 20 plus years to learn this. I couldn't understand why I kept having the same bad experiences over and over and over again. Amen to the fact I know now. And I would say that it's great to vent. It's great to put your story down. But the more negative stuff you write, the more negative stuff you're going to attract. Because like attracts like. Scientifically proven. We know, and you may have heard about mindfulness and creative expression and law of attraction. But at the end of the day, whatever you put out, you get back. So if you have a negative, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have, if you've got a negative flow going on, a negative expression going on, a negative internal dialogue going on, and you're writing about it, it's going to keep coming up. It's going to keep showing up because you're focusing on it. And I know that sounds, it is contra to what the beliefs are today and what, you know, the mindfulness and a lot of teachers and psychologists, psychotherapists and all the rest of it, of all the ologists out there. Yeah, it's great to get it down on paper, but trust me, after 20 years and plus of doing this, I know that if you're writing all your negative stuff out, trust me, all you're doing is going to keep attracting that negative stuff towards you and reinventing it. And we have over 65,000 thoughts, unconscious, a day that you're not even aware of. So it can't be good for us. Huh. So where do we go from there? Back to journaling. So that is the really, I really would like you to think about if you're journaling, and I get that you've got to get negative emotions out of your body somehow, and if you want to journal about them, fine, but here's the upside. I'm going to put an upside in there, is that if you're journaling negative stuff and you have got a lot of stuff going on and you want to vent it, then vent it into your journal. But, and when there's a but, there's a problem. But also then write. That is how it's happening to me. Well, not generally write, but this is the sort of things you could write and think about and put on a next page or something. This is exactly what's happening to me right now. These are the feelings I'm having. These are the experiences I'm having. And I don't like them. And they are unpleasant, and they're making me feel da 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 da. And I accept that. So number one, acceptance. I accept that this is the way it is just for today. I accept. But, and here's the next but, and number two, I don't have to follow it. I don't have to focus on it. I'm choosing to. I don't have to feel this way. I'm choosing to. And acknowledge, so, you know, acceptance, acknowledgement, and in that acknowledgement, just say, but it's okay. I am safe, and it's okay. I accept that this is what's going on. I acknowledge that this is what's going on. Even if it's not good for me, there's something inside of me drawing it towards me. Now, I've also got to put in here, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not no psychotherapist. I've just done 25 years plus of working through some serious amounts of stuff, internal stuff, and learning along the way. So I am qualified in law of attraction, I am qualified meditation teacher, I'm a qualified, lots of things actually, but things, coach, lifestyle coach, things that are going to get you from where you're at to a much better place of being. Internal, I'm talking about, internal. Not external, because external is the false vision of what you see, what you are anyway. So it's how you are inside that's important. And what you feel, you then have words that you can put to it, and then you'll express it, and then it comes back to you. That's the law of attraction. So if you're journaling negative stuff, acknowledge that you're feeling rubbish, accept that you're feeling rubbish, and tell yourself it's okay to feel this way. So there in itself is just a little component. On the other side of that, what would I like to feel like? Instead of feeling this, what would I like to feel like? What would I like my day to be? And eventually you'll start doing that before the events happen. So you're going to start to, they call it reprogramming, but I don't like that word. Well, do I? It is just what it is, it's rewriting your story, your script, because your script is your dialogue, your internal dialogue, and it's not always healthy. So your internal script is what you put out to the universe, conscious or unconsciously, and that is exactly what attracts back to you energetically, and the experiences come from that. So if you can do that with the negative stuff, then boy, have you got a beautiful life ahead of you, because you can also do that with the positive stuff. So you take the negative story out, or you write it down, and then you put on a single page, but I could choose to feel the following instead. And then get into thinking about if there was something negative that happened, or you always find that you're attracting a certain negativity towards you, then what would be the opposite of that negativity? What would you like it to look like? What would you like it to feel like instead? And it could be that you like, well, I've never had a positive experience to balance it with. Well, make it up. Make it up. And eventually your brain has to start doing what you're telling it to do, because it doesn't know the difference between real or imagined, which is why children can play in that beautiful space of imagination, because the brain doesn't know any different. It only knows what you give orders to it. It only knows what you tell it. So on that note, feel free to journal whatever you like, but please really try to stop leaving it there. You've got to then say, yeah, but the other side of that coin is a much more positive experience, be it that I'm not having that right now. I know it's possible. Okay? I know it's possible. Because on some level of you, somewhere within you, you do know the truth about that situation. You do know the truth that there's an opposite to what you are experiencing. Even though they say opposites attract, yeah, they do. You can attract the very opposite of what you're actually thinking, feeling and experiencing. But you've got to put the work in. And that's where journaling is really great. But I would go back to that point. If you're going to write negative, then you need to follow through with the positive. So that's just like out there now. So what makes a handmade journal better than a bought journal? Well, nothing. Well, I'd say nothing. There's quite a few things actually, I think, but this is just my opinion. You may think the same, you may not, that's okay. You could go buy a journal if you want, but I'm all about upcycling, recycling, and using what I have already. So if you make a handmade journal, it's more pleasing, okay? It's more in tune with you. If you've made it, you will align vibrationally with it because it's your creation. And so therefore, you are more likely to use it. It's not, I know it sounds so simple. Well, it's like, oh yeah, actually, the more tactile it is, the more I'm likely to want to be with it. The more it feels like me. You know, when you go shopping, you think, nah, that's not my style. Nah, I don't like that. Nah. Well, that's because it's not, you haven't made it. You haven't put your, I'm going to call it your vibration into it. Decorating with ephemera that uplifts you. So stickers, things that make you feel happy, positive quotes, positive prayers, positive whatevers. Then if you put those in your diary or your journal, you're going to have an alignment with that vibration. So going back to what I said earlier, if you're in alignment with a good vibration, then you're going to attract that very vibration back into your life tenfold. And that builds. The more you give it, the more it gives to you. Because it's an expansive universe. It's an expansion of vibrational energy that we all are creating within itself. So you can't lose out. You can only benefit from putting it in. So buy a journal and then decorate it again with ephemera that uplifts you. So if you're going to buy a journal and you don't like the cover, but you actually like the paper, then buy it. Because you're going to put you're going to put your stamp on it. Change and alter the journal cover and make it more tactile. And I'm going to show you mine in a minute compared with what it was. And I absolutely love it now. I loved it before, but I really love it now. So if you love the feel of your journal, you're more likely to use it again. More likely. I mean, it sounds such simple things, but they're profound. They are profound in the way that it will make you want to almost carry your journal under your arm everywhere you go. It becomes almost better than your handbag. It's one of those things. And that's what I'm saying. If you wouldn't carry a handbag around with you that you didn't like, or because you just wouldn't be seen outdoors without a bag that you didn't like. So in terms of your journal, it's got to feel and it's got to be a part of you. So I've changed the cover, I've changed everything about this, what it started out to be, but I love it now and I will use it. I use my journals anyway. But I have learnt over the years that it does make a difference when you put your own stamp on it. So that's going to help you keep journaling with those few things. So I've also got a list of things you can add to your journal, because some people, if they're just starting out, would not be in the full expression mode. So, and maybe like, does that look right? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure whether I can do that. The world is your oyster. That's your journal. That's your diary. And effectively, nobody else should be looking at it unless you want to share it. It's personal. Always has been, always will be. Unless you choose to leave it on the coffee table for people to read. But I find a journal has always been, I don't know where it comes from, how ancient history is, where it comes from in history. When we first started using journals, I don't know, I've not looked at it actually, but it would be interesting to find out the first journal. I think they've always journaled, haven't they? People, ancient manuscripts and things, they were a form of journaling. So things that you can add to your journal. Old papers from your stash. If you've got a stash, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't and this is your first time, then literally look at what's in your recycling bin in terms of paper, cardboard, envelopes. Hopefully we all do a little bit of recycling. Some people don't actually still do any. I've got neighbours that don't recycle at all. But colouring book pages, okay, or newspapers, because you can paint on newspaper and you could use that. But colouring book pages, old kids' books, neighbours, if you've got neighbours who've got kid books, and let them see if they've got any old ones you can snatch off them. Envelopes, little gems. If you've got a stash or you don't particularly want to spend a lot of money, then some of these items you won't want to go and get, but you can get them fairly cheap. In the UK we've got companies called Poundland, Pound Stretcher, and Wilko are really cheap stuff for their the range. You know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. And actually, old jewellery is great for that part. Gems, and things like that. Stickers, great to put in your journal. If you're a sticker person, great. Paint the pages so you can not have boring lines and just white pages with numbers on. You could stencil on the pages. You could use images or drawings that uplift you. You could use quotes, prayers. The world is your oyster. You've just got to get out of stuck mode and in your mind and say, do you know what, I'm just going to let the creative juices flow and see what happens. Because if you don't like it, tear the page out. It's just simple as that, really. Fold out things, you know, so you could have your page and then you could have another fold out sheet for your things to do list or your shopping list. So again, you don't have to stick with how it was made. This is what pushes us is, well, it's made like that, so I've got to stick to it. No, actually, you haven't. You haven't. You just got to get into creative mode to say, how can I upcycle it? How can I change it? What can I do to it? What can I do to make it more pleasing than being a boring diary? And actually, when I started this one, I didn't think I'd got a 2021 diary. I do put stuff on my phone in my diary, but I like to have a diary. I'm still an old-fashioned person. I love my pen to paper activity. Whether that's for diary work, albeit that I don't use the diary as a diary, I don't think. Do I anymore? No, I don't think I do. Because the phone has taken over, hasn't it? So, and that is, at first I was a little bit awkward with that. I didn't like that version. But now it's just become a habit. So I do have a 2021. And I think I got it from Poundland for a couple of quid. It wasn't much, but I don't need to use it. And again, it's a lovely hardcover and it has got the ability to be altered. So again, it's another word, isn't it? You can alter anything. So hopefully I will put this list up at the end. I'm going to try and take a photo of it and hopefully you'll be able to read my writing. Then I'm going to put a photo in that maybe you can have a look at. It's just some ideas. There's plenty more. There's thousands more ideas. So I'm going to turn the camera now downward so you can see. I'm going to take you through what I've done on the journal since the last video. And I'm trying to get you as overhead as I possibly can. So I've attached little bulldog clips to some seam binding, and I've made a little charm, and the seam binding has been wrapped with twine, and I've just attached it to the back with another clip. So this isn't attached, it's just attached with another clip. And the fabric is actually, I've got a stash of sample fabrics from a local what do you call those shops? Designer furniture shops. Anyway, they've got all those books of fabrics and I get my hands on them. And then I've put some really lovely, I turn this that way so you can see it, some really lovely gems on there, and I've just glued those on, so I Mod Podged, and then I have stuck this to the inside cover. Now you can see that this has gotten really big because this was quite thin when it started off, and then I have done the inside page. And again, I'll tell you, if you haven't watched the last video, I have stuck some pages together. And these were the 9 insights that I talked about, so this is something very important to me. And I've done some stamping and a quote and a prayer. And again, just gone over each part where there was numbers and there was a calendar at the bottom, and I've just put scrap paper over them. Sometimes I've stamped, sometimes I haven't. Now I've also added some pages, just brown paper, and you might have noticed at the front there's all these elastic bands, and that's because I've put inserts in, so you can add other bits of paper to make it more interesting. So again, stamping, gluing, but I've gone through half the year, so I've got plenty of journal space, and I've done up to about June in this one. But of course, as you add ephemera, your diary is going to expand, so you need to think about that when you're actually starting the project. Now this particular diary, that was an old diary, these are sewn in. These signatures are sewn in, so if it gets too thick, and I think it probably will, I can take out signatures by taking out the whole signature by cutting the thread, so I don't have to tear pages out. So I've added some brown paper because I like brown paper. It's quite tactile to me. And then I've got some crinkly paper, very thin, and this is something that I was printing and it all went wrong, so but I've kept it because it's got some nice information on there that I think I will keep. And the other thing you can think about when you're doing journaling is it's not just about this present moment. In 30 years' time, who's going to pick this up? Maybe you've passed over, I hope not if you're young, but maybe when you've passed over, who's going to find this? They're going to think, wow, that is really interesting, I didn't know that. So this information is also for your future people, future children, grandchildren, I don't know, whoever finds it. Maybe it's a legacy thing. So again, I have some thick pages, some thin pages, and again, that's your choice, isn't it? And this was coffee dyed paper that, just as I say, had some old prints on that I didn't use. But for me, the prints are relevant. So this is about herbs. So, and when I say herbs, I'm talking not just basil, not garden herbs. I'm talking all sorts of herbs that are used in different things to food and garnishing. Magical, I'm going to say the word. So it gives some information on that. And then I've put some small envelopes. I made some small envelopes and I've put a little, what was on that one? You see again, what was on that one? I am protected, I am love, I am light. So just a reminder that all of those things are happening in my life. It's just a reminder. And I've also put in, so I've covered up all the numbers, all the dates. I've also put some homemade seed packets that were, and put a tag in there to remind me today is a beautiful day. So, and these were done on, did I dye those on? I don't know, painted paper anyway. But hopefully you're getting the drift by now. So that, and this was fabric that I stamped on, and then card that I stitched, little postcard flower picture that I stitched, and just a little pin. You could also add in, like this one was my jelly print paper, and I've put smile and the world will smile with you. So again, just little reminders along the way that it's all positive. There is a positive version out there for you to experience. Whether you're experiencing that now is your choice. And another good thing you can use is, I can't remember where I got these from. Let me have a think, because I know it'll come back to me. I think these were out of a mandala colouring book, and I photocopied them and cut them up. I've still got the mandala colouring book, and these were some painted papers that I did. And again, some stamps, and I've used different things coming along here. I've even put a bit of material in there. I have faith in all that I do, Whether you do or not is irrelevant. If you keep mantraing that and saying it over and over again, your body, your mind will respond. Oh, I missed a bit there, look. Your body, or maybe you've got a moddy, I don't know. Your body and mind will respond. Another seed packet. This one opens that way, that I have printed on. And again, you can get fabric and stamp on it. Works out great. And then I haven't got anything in that one, but eventually something will go in there. Now these ones, circles, I punched out of painted papers that I did. So again, you could use that. Let me just move you a little bit. Wobble coming up, so I can get this in closer. I'm hoping. Journal, and then some paper, and here you can see, so this is good for colouring. And then I've got lots of journal space. Misty waters, so just words, things that make you feel happy. And if you're not sure where to start, write a list of things that make you feel happy, uplifted, inspired, motivated, and stick to those words. Don't use anything that doesn't resonate. Don't use words, things, or even do things. I say that to people when I'm coaching. Or mentoring even. Don't do anything that doesn't make you happy. Don't do it to please other people. That is so not right. Just not right on any level. And also on this one, I found I call them crinkle scissors. You probably can't see it on that. This was the Victorian one. You know, the kids' scissors with all the different edges? I've cut them. I don't think you can see it, but I've cut them. Crinkle scissors, I call them. And again, yeah, no, we're up to June, look. So I haven't done July, but I've put some extra pages in back here. Little pages back here. And at the back, I put some paper down. And then I've created a pocket out of a CD cover. I found loads of these. I don't know what on earth I bought them for. I must have been, was I producing it? I might have done meditation CDs at some point on the journey to here, and I needed covers. Yeah, I would have done. That's the only thing I can think I would need them for. It's definitely not recording music. And then in there I've just got some more packets that I'm going to use. And then onto the back cover I've stuck to the original back cover. And so there it all is. It's thick. It's starting to be really thick and chunky now, but it's also still really flexible, which is lovely, but it is tactile now, whereas before, I don't know whether you watched the other video, we were bound in this, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, it serves a purpose, and I probably could decorate it, and it's a bit, as I said in the last video, like neoprene on faux leather, and it was okay, you know, it served its purpose. It was bendy, it was flexible. But there we go. I prefer this one because it's me. If you was to put loads of journals down and you knew the person next to you really well and they mixed all the journals up, you would be able to find the journal that belonged to them because you know their style. You know what they like. If I put this on a table and put people in front of that table to try and find it, they'd know. They'd know. So, and then so that then gets wrapped up. And of course this will expand, and then that gets clipped with that clip to there. And again, this will expand, and it's not, you know, think about your closure, think about if this is going to get too big and all of that. But don't overthink it, just go along. I can see how this has expanded so much, and I probably will have to take some signatures out. But I'm going to give it, I think if I'd have had this edge out here more, obviously it would have given more room for expansion. But I haven't, so that's the end of that. But I really love it. It's so tactile. I can't help but every day but pick it up and have a look through it. And maybe that's what your journal is going to be about. maybe your journal is going to be, I'm going to light some incense, sorry. Maybe your journal is going to be for thoughts, feelings, emotions, gifts, experiences, I don't know, journeys, travelling. I don't know what it's going to be for, you know. But you could do a travel journal, you could do, that's just my California white sage, by the way. Yeah, you could do travelling, you could make a travel journal. I make a cooking book. I've got recipes that I really love. And I've got to do another one because this one that I've got is expanded that much, I can't even close it anymore. And it's only got a mini spine of about that much. So I've kind of got to take it apart and redo it so that I can actually then add more to it or make a new one. So you could have a journal for recipes, you could have a journal for your kids, you know, birthday. I had a friend actually once, many years ago, she'd moved away now, and she used to do on her sons, she had 3 sons, every year on their birthday they had their own little book each, and every year she would put something in that book for them, a memory or a party that they may have had. And she wasn't a party girl, as in, I don't mean she wasn't the party girl, I mean she didn't hold many parties for her sons, etc., because that's not who she was. She was very like me, she was very eclectic, and she loved her Victorian stuff. But every year she would make this fabric covered book and put that year, that particular day, in their birthday book. And so they have every birthday logged and recorded, which I think is beautiful. And don't get me wrong, technology has got its place, but you cannot beat something tactile. You cannot beat something that you can actually physically pass down to your children and they can hold it and have memories of who you are and who you were, and my mum did this for me, and then their children, oh, my grandma did this for me, and then it passes down again and just say, great grandma did this for me. I won't have that opportunity because I don't have children, well, not my own anyway. So I look at this as being, although I don't have children, that does make me sad, I can't change the fact that I don't have them. But I think, okay, how can I change that? And again, this is another one of those, I'll finish that sentence, for goodness sake. I'm terrible for doing that, not finishing my sentences. So, even though I don't have my own children, so I won't get grandchildren per se, I get excited. I've changed that negative feeling because it is quite a traumatic reason why I don't have them, and that could be a psychological traumatic reason for somebody that just continues throughout their life. It's never going to change and it still continues to upset them years for whatever reason. However, I've changed that for me into, I'm excited about who, I don't even know who is going to get these journals, but when they find whoever clears my place out, boy, are they in for a shock. They're going to find about 70, if not over 100 journals. Now, I've got a good way to go yet. So, you know, a good collection of writings, journals, recipe books. I mean, who wouldn't want to clear my house out? I mean, whoever gets the job of clearing my house out when I go, they're going to be very, very lucky people. That's all I can say. Because this will be like finding ancient manuscripts in the darkest of Peru, and then saying, wow, this is what they did back then, look. Because I document quite a few things that, you know, you might have a gardening book and somebody would find this 100 years on. I know some families who live on farms that have left a time capsule about what they did on their farm, and their children have buried it for somebody else to find in years and years and years to come. And I think that's really important. Like, we find now bones of the Iron Age and people and crockery and stuff like that. Where I live, I found an original horseshoe. Oh, of course it was an original. Yeah, horseshoe, because this was a working farm where my apartment is built within the old manor house, and so the field out the back that is now the garden, that used to be fields, and I used to play over here as a kid, so I know where the fields used to be, and that I found a big horseshoe out there, so that was just a testament to history, and of course I've got it. It's going to be my front door knocker when I get another place. So what I was saying here is, do not despair, people. If you don't think, well, I've never journaled and I don't think I can journal, you can. You just have never done it. So how, in fact, there's the question. If you've never done it, how do you know that you can't do it? How do you know that you can't achieve a journal to your liking? And trust me, my original journals, they are, well, I can't show you them because they're all in storage, but some of them are like, really? You worked in this as a journal? So your creativity and your craft will grow as you grow, and you will get better, and you know, you may have some really rubbish ones, but you may have some really spectacular ones. And there's some you'll go, yeah, I really love this one, and there's some you'll go, actually I like it, but it's not great. And it's all okay. It is all okay. So that's the journal update, and so just be inspired. Maybe you want to make, you know, people junk journaling, you know, collect all your junk instead of putting it in the bin, staple it together and make it into a journal, and use up. Stop filling landfill. Stop putting it to landfill. You know, I said to somebody yesterday when I picked up a parcel, I was like, I don't mind them coming in boxes that are 10 times the size of the parcel. And she was explaining sometimes they just run out of boxes and just use whatever. And I don't mind boxes because boxes can be recycled and upcycled and actually go to landfill and decompose and can be used in the garden. So I don't mind that type of packaging. It's the plastic packaging I don't like most people now that our awareness has been so heightened to this plastic stuff, and the countries are starting to do something about it. But there is no excuse as to why you can't journal. So I'm hoping that you will be inspired, uplifted to make your journal and to start. And as I say, if you make it more tactile, you are more likely to continue to keep using it. So that is all, my friends. Till the next time, namaste.